OAuth, or Open Authorization, is a critical standard protocol enabling secure, token-based delegation of access to protected resources without sharing user credentials directly. It allows users to grant client applications access to their information stored on another service without giving them their password, enhancing security and user control. Instead, OAuth introduces access tokens, which are short-lived, scope credentials that client applications exchange for authorized permissions to access APIs or services. Among its various grant types, the authorization code flow is the most secure and preferred for web, mobile, and desktop applications. Let's visualize the legitimate OAuth redirection flow, a fundamental process for secure authorization. First, a user initiates a request from a client application, such as clicking Login with Google on a website. The client then redirects the user's browser to the authorization server, which is responsible for authenticating the user. The user authenticates directly with the authorization server and grants consent for the client application to access specific resources. Upon successful authentication and consent, the authorization server redirects the user's browser back to the client application with a temporary authorization code. The client application then exchanges this authorization code directly with the authorization server for an access token, using its own confidential credentials. Finally, the client uses this access token to securely access the user's protected resources on the resource server, completing the legitimate flow. However, OAuth token manipulation attacks exploit vulnerabilities in this process, often bypassing password requirements and multi-factor authentication. A common attack vector is redirect URI manipulation, where attackers trick the system into leaking authorization codes or access tokens. If the authorization server doesn't properly validate the redirect URI, an attacker can manipulate it to point to their own malicious server. The user is then unknowingly redirected to the attacker's server, which captures the authorization code or access token intended for the legitimate client. With the stolen token, the attacker gains unauthorized access to the user's account and resources, compromising their data and privacy. To prevent such attacks, strict validation of redirect URIs is crucial, ensuring they match pre-registered values. Implementing PKCE, or Proof Key for Code Exchange, is mandatory for public clients, preventing intercepted codes from being used by unauthorized parties. Additionally, storing tokens securely, using short-lived tokens, and continuous monitoring for suspicious activity are vital mitigation strategies. Educating users on consent phishing and regularly auditing OAuth applications further strengthens defenses against these sophisticated threats.